Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here. It is time for the virtual coffee break. I've got my coffee. Grab your beverage and let's have a chat, shall we? It's been a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend with my son. My wife got called away for a family emergency, so our hearts and thoughts are with her. But my son and I have been able to spend the day today just pretty quietly around the house. He worked both Black Friday and Saturday, so he's a pretty tired bear. Anyhow, the thing that's on my mind is getting what you pay for, especially when it comes to things like coaching and consulting and having people set up digital services for you and things like that. There are a couple of stories that I wanted to mention. I've worked with a lot of people who have invested thousands of dollars, in some cases tens of thousands of dollars, in the things that they need to start a business. In one case, I had a person who wanted to sell an online course, and the online course was fairly easy for this person to create. They already had the framework, they already had the presentation, all of that was already in place. So the course itself wasn't that difficult. They did have to pay for the course, hosting platform and the website that it was hosted on and all of that. They had to pay for the web design. They had to pay for all of the different, infrastructure costs that it took to have that course online and hosted and ready to sell. And the person also was willing to invest quite a significant amount in coaching around marketing and things like that. The sad thing is that after all of this investment, the person still hasn't sold any of the course. And the big reason for that is that they are very intimidated by, first of all, by just being a business person. They're intimidated by marketing. They're intimidated by selling. And they have a real high level of self-consciousness and imposter syndrome that are going on kind of simultaneously. And so one of the things that's been very interesting is that instead of being willing to go out and sell the course themselves, they're willing to just set it all aside after all of this, in this case, probably close to $30,000 of investment over time and a couple of years of development are being set aside simply because this person doesn't like selling and they don't feel confident in their relationships with other people. And so one of the things that we've had to work on in that situation is gaining the courage to tell people about what you're offering. And I think all too often one of the things that we confuse and that we misunderstand is that we're selling ourselves. That we're selling ourselves in this process. And quite honestly, that's not what is for sale. In this case, the course is a very, very powerful and impactful program, and it could have lifelong impact on the people that take it. And yet, the thing that is holding it back from being available and taken into the public is the person's sensitivity about, maybe it's rejection, maybe it is failure, maybe it's that they're worried that it's not good enough. All of those things are at play right now. And that's one of the things that I wanted to mention is you can throw a lot of money, and I've had this happen with several clients. They've paid thousands of dollars for funnel building, services and website building services and course building services and content marketing channel building services and all of this stuff. They've paid thousands of dollars. And when it came right down to it, the success that they wanted hinged on one thing, and that is their willingness to tell people about what they've done, to tell people about what they've offered. And when they do that, and when they get out there and they find that there are a lot more no's than yeses, well, they start to think that they've had a pipe dream or a bad idea. And that's not the case at all. One of the big things that's really important, I think, for people to understand is that even if you have an amazing product, program, or service, it may be that it's only for a very small fraction of people. And so as a result of that, unless your marketing is really lock solid and you're getting in front of those people, every day, there's going to be a whole lot of throwing your bait out there and not getting any bites at all. The one thing that I'm going to encourage people with is that marketing and selling are learnable skills. And most of the time, it's not actually even a skill problem that's going on. It's a will problem. And that will, that ego protection of, I will not do that, sometimes keeps people from the one thing that would make their idea a successful idea. You can throw money at it all day long, but unless you're willing to get out there and talk about it to people, I don't think it's got a shot. Now, the talking doesn't necessarily have to be you on stage. The talking doesn't necessarily have to be you doing radio interviews. The communication that needs to happen is that you just need to have a way to communicate with the people who need what you're selling. And it's a way for you to make your case for them as to why they should buy what you're offering. That takes some learning. You're not born with that. And you're going to take some time to gain confidence in that area. And so for the first little while, it's going to be scary as all get out. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. Scary just means that you're just doing something new. And what I'm going to tell you is that the only thing that is really standing between most of us and the success that we want is the will to do the thing that we are afraid of doing. And that's something that can only be faced and passed, I think every time that we try something new, we're out there on the edge of the diving board again, and we're going into an unknown set of circumstances. It's normal to be scared in those times. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. It's also important, I think, for us to not get attached to a certain outcome, but to be willing to see things just as circumstances rather than expectations, right? I mentioned this in the interview that I just did with Kat Stancic not too long ago, and she brought it up as well. She was talking about, the importance of one of the things that people can pick up on, and this is an energetic thing. It's not necessarily in the rehearsal of the speech or anything like that. One of the things that they can pick up on is how desperate you feel. And desperation and confidence, I'm not sure that they're great bedfellows. I think one or the other is going to be getting the covers. What I usually recommend to people is to practice with safe people before you go out and try it with others. So if you're having a difficult time talking about what you offer to the people that you want to put it in front of, get a couple of people that you can practice with and go through the way that you present, the way that you talk about it, really clarify the message that you want to bring forward, and just practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it until it's second nature. And then when you are in front of people who are right for the deal, you won't have as much hesitation around it. And you won't have as much concern about what the outcome is going to be. You can just be very present. You can share what is necessary, and you can tell them what's going on. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to just, figure out what you need to say, find a couple of practice partners, and practice, practice, and practice. That's how it works. It's like you were not born with the ability to do this, and that's why it feels so scary. All right, so that's my soapbox for this Sunday afternoon. I hope everything's going well for you and that you've had a wonderful weekend. Here in the U.S., it's been a long weekend for Thanksgiving. And I am grateful for this audience here, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to just share what's on my mind. I thank you, as always, for your time and your attention, and I'll be back again tomorrow. So long.